Hello, duelists. Welcome back to Old Format Yu-Gi-Oh! Today we're doing another rendition of 5 ranked matches, and we're going to be doing GOAT format once more. It is sadly the easiest format to find matches for, so I figure why not, because I already had all these matches played, and then in a couple days you'll probably see a new one for something a bit different. This time I am on Chaos Control, which so far has been my favorite deck playing through GOAT. I've been enjoying it quite a lot. And let's do a little bit of the card by card. Just for the record, this list was taken from AJTBLS, who just won the most recent FLC 26. He got first place. It was a, 82-person tournament, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm basically on the exact same list because I watch his YouTube channel, and I think he's a trusted person when it comes to GOAT format. Very smart player. So let me go through the card by card real quick, and we'll get into the matches. BLS, Breaker, great for going back row, Chaos, Sork, only 2 of them. That's probably all you need. If anything, you're a little stuck on lights sometimes. The Dark Mimic package has been fun, just free draw cards, and at least they kind of dodge knock a little bit, like you're not losing your moths, they're good bluffs, and drawing a card is always solid. Double Spy, which helps search out dark monsters for your Chaos monsters, and it's also just a good wall. Kaiku is just very good against Chaos Turbo, and it's very annoying to deal with because 1800. Double Magician of Faith, pretty standard I would say. Sanguine to search whatever. Sinister Serpent, we have a couple combo cards for that. 3 Thunder Dragon. I know before this I was a little new to GOAT, and I've never seen Thunder Dragon in like the control lists, and it's very, very interesting. You get to do a lot of stuff with it, whether it be Wing Blast, sometimes even tributing monsters is pretty useful. So yeah, cool card. We have Tribe, obviously combos with Sinister and Thunder Dragons. Tsukiyomi also just kills warriors pretty easily. We have a Book of Moon. Creature Swap is pretty fun, especially with the Dark Mimics and some of our other small monsters and the GOAT tokens we get from Scapegoat. We have Delinquent, Graceful, Pot of Greed on the other side, the 3 staples. Heavy Storm, pretty good. We don't play that much back row. 3 Metamorphosis, very strong card. I know Chaos Turbo is like the best deck right now, at least by player numbers, and people don't play Metamorphosis in it, but I always thought this card is way too strong not to play, in my opinion. You can do way too many broken things with it. MST Declare back row, Nobleman, everyone sets cards in this format except the Warriors, but then these are an instant side out. We have that Pot of Greed mentioned before. Scapegoat helps keep us alive, and also just gives us a wall of defense, which is nice, and Metamorphosis into Thousand Eyes is still one of the strongest plays you could be doing. Snatch Steal, another one of the broken cards. We have Mirror Force, and I'll go over here to Torrential. 2-for-1 cards, very, very strong. We have Ring of Destruction, which either can sometimes get us a game, get us a tie, it just depends on where you're at, but more importantly, it keeps you alive, even though it does damage. Double Wing Blast combos with Thunder Dragon and Sinister Serpent pretty well, also helps you get your graveyard set up. And lastly, we have Double Dust Shoot, which is very interesting. I know AJTBLS is very strong on the Double Dust Shoot, and no Solemn Judgment. Very interesting, but I definitely prefer it over Judgment, in my opinion. Plus, it gives you an easy side-out card when you're going second. Extra Deck, I'm just going to hover it over real quick. You can read through it if you want, but GOAT has the infinite Extra Deck clause, so don't have to worry about that too much. For the record, I don't know much about his reasoning for this deck list. I've seen him play Soul Control on his YouTube channel and talk about the deck a bit. However, this is a different version of it, so I'm just doing my best guess of what you're actually playing with it. We have Azura Priest, which I assume is to get rid of tokens and other small monster decks. Berserk Gorillas against Warriors because they can't beat over it. Death Wombat against Burn or Panda Burn, anything like that. Jinzo against Heavy Back Row. I think I sided this in against Warriors too, because if you can get this off, it's pretty strong, because it's hard for them to remove outside of DD Warrior Lady or Exiled Force. Kaiku for the same reason against Warriors and Chaos, great card. Mobius against Heavy Back Row decks or Panda Burn, because Chain Energy is a very annoying card to deal with. Book of Moon for also the Warrior matchup, Mind Control for also the Warrior matchup. I also put this in against Reasoning or Gate Turbo, because you could just Metamorphosis whatever you take, which is very strong. Mystic Walk against Burn, I like this card a lot. Very strong, especially on BLS or Chaos Sork. Thinking about it now, also Gravekeeper Spy. Forgot about that one. Free gain 2000 is really strong, especially when you already get +1 off the Spy itself if it doesn't die. Swords against any aggro decks like Warriors. A lot of these side deck cards are against Warriors because they're the main deck, and they're not a bad matchup against this deck, but I'd say it's about even, so if they're the most played deck, why not try to beat them? Otherwise, against Chaos Control, I'd say that this list is pretty solid. Call the Haunted, I think, in more slower, grindy matchups, and Sakuretsu against Warriors and anything that's trying to kill you, like Panda Burn usually, I'd even side it in. But either way, that's enough of me rambling. Hopefully I got most of AJTBLS's reasoning correct, but otherwise, this list is awesome. I wouldn't change a thing, and I love it so much. It's wonderful. Let's get into the games. This is a little different than what we're used to doing, but instead of these being in the format library Discord, these are just on the dueling book rated mode because it's a lot faster, and I figure why not get out more content while I have the time. So during each match, I'll show my rating, which is right now 193, pretty low, but we're climbing, against Lakosh, who is 179, so pretty even matchup. I'll show those through, and I think I ascended these replays in ascending order of rating, which is I would say it's a rough approximation of skill. I open up Upstart, Tribe, Chaos Sork, BLS, Magician of Faith, and Regeki Break. Let's see, do I go for Upstart? I do. Looking at this hand, I'm going to start doing this. Goat format's a bit more analytical, so I could talk a bit more about it, about what I would do first. Open 2 right here, just setting ring and passing. I don't feel the need to do much. Let's see what I actually go for. Oh, perfect. Look at me. He summons Tribe. I ring it just because I'm thinking to myself, looking at my hand, it's kind of an annoying card. I could summon Tribe, pitch a card, and get rid of it, but there's nothing in my hand I really want to pitch right now. So I just decided to let him go with it. Forgot to go over my opponent's hand, but he had Ring, Magic Jammer, and Magic Jammer. It's actually pretty annoying now that I think about it. Nobleman and Mirror Force, and he sets 3. Pretty good opener, but no other monsters. I'm going to end up sitting Moth, because I don't have much to do right now with this hand, and I'm not too comfortable just passing, and I could end up just taking a bunch of damage. So I figure worst case, I get Upstart back, which is a 1-for-1. He rips the Duo, and let's see what he hits. He's going to hit the Tribe, I pitch Chaos Sork, and now I do have a light on the board, which would die and give me my BLS. However, he has Knock. We banish our Moths. Not good at all, mainly because without a light, this deck runs pretty dry on lights unless you draw Thunder Dragon. It's a very convenient draw, especially with a Regeki Break. I do not believe that I go BLS here. Yeah, okay, I just set Regeki Break pass. He draws his own Thunder Dragons, and we're kind of in a stalemate. So I activate Dust Shoot here, knowing that he has the Thunder Dragons, and of course I get a little counterplayed because he draws Pot of Greed. So if I waited, I would have been rewarded. However, my thought process was, there's a small chance if he draws Monster, he could just, summon Monster, set a back row, and then this Dust Shoot is dead for the rest of the game. So I figure, why not just use it now before I lose it forever? So I hit a T-Drag, obviously. I see their hand, and they draw spells anyway, so it's not like it mattered. But then again, that Dust Shoot could have been dead for life, so who knows? I summon Sangan, great top deck right here, because I could summon it into nothing, get in for damage. He rips Chaos Sork. Is that dead for him right now? Yes, it is. So I'm just going to keep getting in with Sangan, because I have nothing to do right now. I draw Graceful. He Magic Jammers me. This is very surprising because I know this card's not played too much. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But I'm pretty sad because I like that Graceful Charity. But either way, I'm slowly killing him. He MSTs my new one. I chain Scapegoats. He Magic Jammers the Scapegoats. Very interesting. Pitches his own heavy. I guess that makes sense since he has a bunch of background. Right now he's on Judgment, Mirror Force, Ring, which is not ideal against a Sangan. Summons Breaker. I'm going to Regeki Break before it pops. He pops. He hits my other back row, I book a Moon It, and he's going to set a TT. So he has all the power traps right now. I Tribute for Thunder Dragon, he Torrentials, I search Sinister Serpent. I'm just thinking I can Metamorphosis it, and I'm pretty happy with that. Next turn, if he summons something, he's going to drop he's going to drop Chaos Sorcerer. I'm just going to Regeki Break it, prevent damage. Draw Sinister. I'm just going to set it, go for 1,000 Eyes. I figure with the Tsukiyomi, I could just, book it next turn and get in for game. Or not game, but close to game. However, he's going to ring it. I'm going to drop BLS, reading that his last back row is not Torrential, and it's probably nothing else on summon. So I banish his set monster, which is Sinister. It's bad for him. Interesting choice here with his Graceful Charity, because if I'm not mistaken... Oh, no, never mind. It doesn't really matter, I guess. He could have, pitched Knight Assailant to get back a Spy. So you'd have, double Spy in hand, but, thinking about it, that doesn't really do anything, I guess. So he sets. I'm not going to wait for it. I'm just going to keep banishing. There's no need here for me to rush. I'm going to have Dark Mimic get in. Try to get in again. He Mirror Forces. That's what I figured it was. I MST the back row. Banishes Monster again. And Tsukiyomi for game. I'm going to go to game 2. I'm pretty happy with how I played game 1. Feeling a lot more confident than I was on the Chaos Turbo list, at least. My opponent's going to open up Mirror Force, BLS, Delinquent, Breaker, Chaos Sork, Solemn Judgment. Not the best opener, but with Delinquent Duo it makes anything better. Let's see what he hits. I did see that I sided in Decree here. Oh, this is a good place to bring up that a couple of these matches might be on an old variation of the list. However, it's very similar main deck-wise, but the side deck is slightly different. I think it has Decrees in it for one, and I also think that the main deck has double Dark Mimic level 1, I believe. It's something that's very niche, but it's not much different. And it is also playing Regeki Break instead of Phoenix Wing Blast, so slight differences, but in the end, I just morphed between the two versions of it. They're going to end up setting Mirror Force, setting Judgment. I'm going to pitch my Thunder Dragons, thin the deck before I Pot of Greed. He does not negate, which is nice. I set Dark Mimic, and I'm happy with that. No need to rush anything. I'm going to Nobleman the Serpent, not a flip effect, but that is a great hit if he never gets that one back. I Mimic, draw one. I Tsukiyomi, book it for more advantage, and then he Mirror Forces. I'm going to flip it again, draw another card. Yeah, just more and more I'm loving this card. It's quite fun. I mean, it's the same as Dekoichi when you think about it, but I like how it can also summon something from deck. Very rarely, but possible. He's going to Solemn my creature swap, which is interesting. Makes me think, like, I'm not sure what he has. I assume it's Moth, because he was just like, he has to go for something. And then he goes for Duo, which, I mean, he didn't have a better choice, but still, I don't know if I would have judgmented for the Duo here. Just because it's like, you're going to hit 2 cards out of my hand, but you know 2 of them are Thunder Dragons, so it's diminishing returns. He's going to go for it, and he's low on life as well. And he hits the Tribe, ironically, so he won the 1 and 3. Kind of disappointing. He's going to pitch a Dark, summon Breaker, I'll book a Moon it, and goes for the BLS, which is upsetting, because I'm going to take a lot of damage here. 4,900. And I do draw an Azura Priest, which doesn't win me the game right now. It does kill his Breaker if it goes through, though. I'm going to set Scapegoat, which thankfully keeps me alive. And right now his back row is dead, minus the Nobleman, but that doesn't matter right now, because I'm just trying to live. He kills tokens. Does this have to send a grave? No, it doesn't. It's, if it kills, it just attacks again. So I'm on 1. I top deck Chaos Sork. I'm going to priority banish. Summon Azura Priest. Get over to Koichi. He draws MST. And I attack in for game. He did have Ring, but he could have MST Decree or Ring, MST Ring, and kill it. But honestly, it didn't matter. He was dead no matter what, because he's at 2,200. So yeah, I'm happy I played match 1. My opponent did not draw well either game, I feel. So not the best meter for how the deck performed, but I was happy with it. All right, moving on to match 2. We are against Phantom Idiot. It's a funny name. At this point, I'm rating 275. He's at rating 314. I've been climbing at this point. These are out of chronological order, but I figure go through level of skill, which is more interesting, I feel. I'm going to open up Ring of Destruction, Graceful Charity, BLS, Breaker, Chaos Sork, and Torrential Tribute. Not a good hand. Do I go for the Charity? I do, which is an interesting play. Of course, I draw the Thunder Dragon after. In hindsight, I'm not sure if I would have done that anymore. I think I would have waited, because, I mean, no deck really kills you in 1 turn, honestly, besides Reasoning Gate, and I had the Torrential for that. So, not too pressing, in my opinion. I ditched the Chaos Sork and Ring of Destruction, which is nice. However, I do open the Delinquent now, which makes this a much better play. Let's say I hit the Chain Energy, one of my least favorite cards, and he discards a Ceasefire. They're going to end up opening Breaker, Nightmare Wheel, MST, and Just Desserts with that. I'm going to summon Breaker, and I'm just going to Torrential, because it's going to get popped no matter what. Set MST, set Nightmare Wheel, and I'm assuming at this point, since they discarded these 2, they're on burn, so I'm very happy with how things go right now. The only thing I'm really looking for, in my opinion, is a way to out a face-down monster, which I have already, which is BLS, because I can discard Thunder Dragon and have a light and a dark. However, that's not a super ideal way, in my opinion, because if it gets Torrential, I lose my BLS or something. However, I'm pretty confident right now. Like, I'm just thinning burn of its advantages. Like, I hit the Nightmare Wheel, and I start getting in another on 2 cards. I pitch the T-Dragon, get 2 more, set MST, he MSTs, and now it's like, okay, now it's 2 cards versus my full grip, so I'm pretty happy. They're going to start off with Ojama Trio and just Desserts me. I take 2,000. I'm going to banish Light in the Dark and just get in for BLS. Now that I know they're on burn, I'm not super worried. I play around Mirror Force here, but he has Gravity Bind, and thankfully I have Regeki Break, so I'm not too worried. I knock the monster, Regeki Break the back row, and we go to game 2. Pretty quick one. The Graceful Charity in game 1 was a little iffy. However, I don't think it was necessarily a misplay, but I probably would have done something different back then. Ironically, it would have cost me the game, perhaps, but that's kind of funny. Let me know what you think about that play down below. It's a little iffy. My opponent's going to open up Giant Rat, Chain Energy, Cypher Soldier, Heavy, Sanguine, and Berserkerella. This is an interesting inclusion. I'm surprised. They're going to set Giant Rat, activate Chain Energy, which is not an opening I like to say. I'm going to open up Dark Mimic, Thunder Dragon, Scapegoat, Sinister, Magician of Faith, and Tribe Infecting Virus. This is a very good hand for Tribe Infecting Virus, but otherwise, it's okay. I'm going to pitch my T-Dragons. My guess is I'm going to set Dark Mimic level 3. That is exactly what I do, and set Scapegoats. Yeah, Scapegoats, I like it a bit because it's like a sort of counter for Ojama Trio, which Ojama Trio is basically the same thing, but they have more defense, and you take damage from it. However, Scapegoats lets you Metamorphosis them. Ojama Trio tokens are level 2, so a lot less useful. And also, I don't take the 900 damage from it, which is nice. So it's a little iffy. I guess it's not the best counter to it. Oh, and it also just blanks a card. Like if they activated I Chain Scapegoat and then they lost a card, basically, in essence. Let's see, they set a Sangan and pass. I'm gonna set a Decree, which I'm very happy with. Yeah, they trio, and then I just Scapegoat. I'm kind of sad because I didn't have the Decree ready, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna Metamorphosis, which is just what I was talking about. Go for Thousand Eyes, and I hit a Giant Rat, which I'm very happy with. They're gonna Heavy Storm, hit the Decree, and the Chain Energy, thankfully. They don't clear the Thousand Eyes. I mean, they can't clear it looking at their hand, so I'm just gonna take more. That Heavy Storm was a very weird play, in my opinion. I mean, all it really hit was Decree and Monster, and then Thousand Eyes is just going to take their other monster the next turn. So, I don't know what they were thinking really there. They're going to MST my real backer, which is Book of Moon, and yeah, they're just going to pass. So, I'm going to tribute for Thunder Dragon, because at this point, Thousand Eyes was kind of locking me. They're going to search Fairy Lily with Sangan, and I'm just going to get in for 26. Okay, they activate Level Limit Area B, and they're going to end up summoning Panda, which is at 3,300. Very devastating, especially because it does piercing, and I'm going to get hit for 33, because all I have is a Decree. Now here, I believe, I'm checking the math real quick, is where I misplay. So this is very obvious game. Past Jason was not the smartest player, as you can tell. Only 275 rating at this point. If I just Heavy Storm, drop Tribe, pitch a monster, call Beasts, it kills everything, get in for game. However, instead of that, I'm going to summon Tribe, it goes to defense, pitch, kill all the beasts, which include the tokens, so that's a little nice bonus. And then I get in for 1,000 with Dark Mimic. Meanwhile, I just missed game, so not super ideal. They summon Fairy Lily, and currently I do have an answer to that with Tribe, so I was a bit confused on their play, and then I Heavy Storm for game. So definitely missed lethal there. I won the match. Thankfully, it didn't matter, but it easily could have, so not too happy with that at the end. Alright, match 3, we're going to be at 260 rating, a little downgrade, against Slyna, who's at 401. Now we're getting up there. Alrighty, I'm going to open up Moth, Delinquent Duo, Pot of Greed, Tribe, Meta, and Sinister Serpent. Very solid hand. Delinquent first, I'm going to try to see what they're on. It looks like they're on Beast Return, or Bazoo Return. I think that's what you call it. I'm not used to playing against it. I duality into Dust Shoot at this point, like, I'm elated. I mean, like, this is the best opening you can have. I have a Moth for my Pot of Greed or for my Delinquent. I have a Trap Dust Shoot, so I'm ripping apart their hand really badly. I'm going to immediately fire it off. I hit a Berserk Gorilla. I'm happy with that. They Pot of Greed, they Rhoda, and they get Swordsman. I'm assuming they're on Warriors now at this point, or maybe Bazoo Return just plays stuff like this. I'm not too familiar with the deck. So sadly, they're going to hit my Moth. Yeah, now we're at relatively equal advantage, which is kind of scary based on what I did to them. I'm going to Dark Mimic attack over. They have no response. And they have Giant Forest, all Earth. Okay, so it was like an Earth beatdown deck. Now it's coming back to me, because now this Berserk Gorilla is at 2,500 if he activates that. Okay, he doesn't. But still, pretty scary. I take 1,000, I draw 1. I rip a Chaos Sorcerer just to get rid of it cleanly. I decide to attack over it because based on them playing Return, I assume that they might be playing, well, what's that card? Dimension Fusion or something? I really don't know the deck that well. I mean, since I've been playing Goat, it's been like 5 or 6 decks, and they're all relatively similar, so I'm not used to this strategy too much. I'm going to get in with Breaker, get in with Chaos Sork. They draw an MST and Fairy Lily, so Fairy Lily will do work. MST not so much right now. I'm going to Breaker hit their back row. I don't know why they even said it in the first place. I'm going to have Dark Mimic get in. They pay life. It dies, I draw 1. Breaker gets in, they no longer have the life to pay it, and they just scoop it up. Pretty easy. I wanted to check, I had a Chaos Sorcerer in hand. I need to see if I had Materials Engraved. I don't think I did, otherwise I would have played it, but who knows. Alright, so they're definitely on Earth Beatdown, which is kind of interesting. They open up a Wangu, Gaia Power, not Giant Power, Jar of Greed, Grand Marg, Solemn Judgment, and Goblin Attack Force. So definitely a strong beatdown hand right there. They're going to set their Jar, set Judgment. I'm going to open up Heavy, Mimic, Mirror Force, Snatch Steal, Book of Moon, and Graceful Charity. I'm going to Heavy. This was an interesting play on their part, and I think they were trying to mind game me, because, I mean, it worked. When you Solemn Judgment a Heavy for 1 back row, you assume the 1 back row is important, and, like, I mean, that's what I was fearing. I mean, I was wrong, but they got me there. I'm going to Graceful Charity, kind of seeing that I don't have much going on right now. And I'm just looking at the board state and deciding what I would pitch in this moment. I think I'd pitch the Chaos Sorcerer. He's not doing too much right now. And probably the Book of Moon. Oh, nice. Okay. I am lining up with my past self, which is fun, and I set the Dark Mimic, and I decide that I don't need to do much. And then they Jara Green, and I'm like, really? It's funny, too, because I could have went more in. I was thinking about, like, snatch stealing the Wang Hu, but I realized, like, it probably doesn't do much if they have a strong back row. So, whatever. They do it, they True Nade back, they tribute for Grand Marg, pretty good advantage. Dark Mimic does not trigger because it has to be destroyed by battle. Then they drop Gigantes, they activate Gaia Power, and I am taking a lot of damage. Thank God I have this Mirror Force in hand. So I'm just going to summon Tribe, and ironically I noticed that they're both rocks, which is funny. When Gigantes dies by battle, it pops all spells and traps. Sadly, this isn't by battle, but it is still pretty cool. I get in for 16, set Mirror Force just to protect against anything, and that pays off. They do have Call of the Haunted, so when I go for game, it doesn't quite work out. I end up creature swapping and just pass. They summon Wang Hu. They beat over my Tribe. I'm going to Snatch Steal, and that is game exactly with their own Gaia Power on Gigantes. Interesting deck. I liked it a lot. It reminds me of James Ark's newest deck. It was like this Earth Beatdown deck with Cold Wave. It was pretty cool. It played like Last Wills and Stein, I believe. I'm probably going to give that a shot at some point on this channel as well. We're going to go to match 3. I'm at 304. My opponent's at 443. We're getting up there. J. Rogers 1, 2, 3. So my opponent is on what I like to call the sauce. It's a deck that I like to play a lot, just Reasoning Gate, although they like to be on a machine variant of it. They open Last Will, Reasoning, Limiter Removal, Fusilier, Reasoning, and Jinzo. Solid. I think they're just going to pass. Okay, makes sense. You could go for the Reasonings, but it's not like you're making a really nice board turn 1 that has like negates like in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something. Meanwhile, I'm going to open up Thunder Dragon, which I'm going to pitch, Search 2, Graceful, Heavy, Dark Mimic, Trap Dust Shoot, and Snatch Steal. I'm very happy with this hand, especially with the Dust Shoot. I'm going to draw 3, pitch my Thunder Dragon, summon Dark Mimic, and get in. They're going to draw on a Scapegoat, I Trap Dust Shoot. I believe I hit Jinzo back, and now I know what they're on. Now I'm terrified. Now, when playing against this deck, it is a scientific fact, backed up by physics, you gotta trust me on this, that if you do not call 8 on Reasoning, they will hit DMOC. It's just a fact. So, and because of that, I will always call 8 no matter what. And lo and behold, they don't hit DMOC. They hit Perfect Machine King, which is a very interesting card. It gets attack for every machine on the field. This build's very weird. I don't think it's as good as the actual Gate Turbo list, but who knows? I like to see different variants. He's going to do it again. I'm just going to call 8 again, knowing that he's probably on multiple 8s now. And he summons a Fusilier. I'm going to take 18. And at this point, I'm kind of terrified of Limiter Removal, just because I know he milled one, and he probably has more since it's at 3 in this format. However, I'm on a lot of cards, so I'm pretty happy. I'm just going to Snatch Steal the Fusilier and get in. They Scapegoat. Not super ideal. I'm going to banish a Light in the Dark, banish a token, and at this point, like, that might not be necessary, but knowing what I'm playing against, I'm just trying to live. So I really just don't want to get OTK'd at some point. So the way to stop that is just summon a bunch of monsters. They're going to Premature, they get back Machine King, they beat over Chaos Sork, I'm going to Moth, and they just surrender. I mean, I'm assuming I could go Snatch Steal and do a couple things, but I think they were still in that game. I don't know, maybe a little bit of a too early surrender. I'd have to look back if I had lethal, but I don't think I did. We're going to go into game 2. My opponent's going to open up Upstart, Monster Gate, Nobleman, Last Will, Scapegoat, and Nobleman. They're going to draw into Limiter Removal. Yeah, this is part of the reason why I don't think this list is the better version, because Limiter Removal is kind of a dead card half the time when you're trying to combo. I'm going to open up Thunder Dragons, Tale as Old as Time, Creature Swap, Kaiku, Tribe, Dark Mimic level 3, and Magician of Faith. I'm not a big fan of monster heavy hands, but with Creature Swap you can do a little bit of fun stuff. And again with Dark Mimic. One of the big things I like about this card, like compared to Dekoichi, let's say, is that like it's like a Sengen. Like you just summon it and attack, and like your opponent's not going to do anything half the time. And it's just wonderful. It's such a basic effect, but it works so well. Opponent's going to Reasoning, I call 8. They hit Fusilier. They're going to Monster Gate. They hit Blowback Dragon. They're going to flip some coins. You gotta love the slow coin flip animation. Oh, and we're down to the wire on the third one. And they miss it, thankfully. So I do get to draw a card. They don't go for Limiter here, which I'm just going to do some quick math. So they had 23 times 2, which is 46, plus 28 times 2, which is 56, and then minus 10 for Mimic. Yeah, they easily had game. I'm very surprised they didn't go for it. I feel like if you're playing this deck, you kind of Need to make sure you're getting your lethals in with limited removal. And I'm surprised, this is a very easy lethal with just 2 monsters. But I am alive, so I'm going to Tribe, pitch T-Dragon, name Machine. I'm going to pitch Call Beast, get in for 16. And yeah, I don't really have back row, so I just have to set a Bluff Creature Swap. Thankfully, they don't draw anything on draw Bookman, and they draw Stein, and they admit defeat. Yeah, honestly, looking back at this game, I feel like my opponent could have won. Even here, I don't know if they would have won one, but like they could have done stuff. They could have summoned Stein, went for a big monster, and just start beating over. Granted, they'd be low, so looking at what I have, Book of Moon would probably help. I could have just go, Moth with Metamorphosis, depending on what they go. If they went Dark Bolter to negate spells, I could have Book of Moons. Yeah, looking at it, if they couldn't kill me, I think I probably did have game. We're going to go into match 5 against our strongest opponent. I'm at rank 214 right now. My opponent's at 751. I have him with the GL, and he hits me with the tanks. They're on Warriors, it looks like. They're going to open up Breaker, Thunder Dragon, Reinforcement, DD Warrior Lady, Mind Control, and Chaos Orc. So Chaos Warriors, to be precise. They summon Warrior Lady pass, no background, not what you want to see. I'm going to open up T-Drags, Moth, Graceful, Torrential, Tribe, MST. So I search some T-Drags. Going to go for the Graceful, pitch Sinister T-Drag, it's a nice rip. Summon Tribe, pitch my other Thunder Dragon, that way I don't lose advantage on the... Or not, I don't lose advantage to that, my Tribe doesn't get banished. Set an MST, they summon a Breaker, and they'll pop it. They Mind Control my Tribe, they pitch to kill itself. Breaker attacks, I draw Sangan. He hits me with them back to square one, which is kind of funny. Also have a Torrential, but he doesn't hit that. And now I get the 2-for-1 easy. One of the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Or one of the best cards in GOAT format, rather. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has much better cards in modern day. I'm going to add back Sinister, set Sangan, set Regeki Break. Yeah, knowing he's on Kaiku, I like to add back the Sinister now. He's going to go for another minus here as he goes for Exiled Force, but I do not have a flip effect, I have a Sangan. And I go for Sook, knowing that that outs most of his deck. I Regeki Break the Chaos Sork, and I mean, look, we're at 5-1 advantage. I'm feeling very confident no matter what they do. Chaos Sword gets in. They draw Blade Knight. They're going to kill my Moth, but I decide to Mirror Force, and they just scoop it up. I know I have a Graceful in grave at least, so it was pretty simple. My opponent's going to open up Mirror Force, Solemn, Breaker, Blade Knight, and Thunder Dragon. Much better hand on their end. They're going to pitch for Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons are definitely interesting, because they counteract with your Blade Knight. So he doesn't even go for it. He just sets 3, and I open up Heavy, which is nice. He Judgments, makes sense. I set Moth, I set Torrential. He back to square ones me, and summons Breaker, which I will Torrential. I'm going to set Moth, set Decree, and I'm going to pray that this gets off. Summons Blade Knight, and this does negate flip effects if there's no other monsters on board. So poor Moth. I go for the Decree, he goes for the Judgment. I was thinking that T-Dragons also conflict with his 1 card in hand effect, but I guess you really care about the flip effect, honestly. Or the negating flip effects. I'm just going to go for a Metamorphosis on a set Moth, because I'm being a bit worried here. Feeling a bit pressured. He Mirror Forces it. Just going to go for Kaiku. You can see this game's going much further in my opponent's control. I draw a Cypher Soldier, which I probably could have set here. I don't quite know why I didn't, because it would end up keeping me alive. It's not like Kaiku can beat over it. I think I was just trying to go for the bluff here. Or, sorry, not the bluff. I think I was thinking to myself, if he summons DD Warrior Lady or something, I could set Cypher Soldier, and then the game's over, because he's at 2,000. So I think that was my thought process. Like, it can go for game easily, even if I just attack over certain things. So I end up setting it, because at this point it's getting a bit risky. Ooh, he banishes 2, gets in, and I do have the Mirror Force for another 2-for-1. I draw Cypher, set it again. He summons Exiled, and he pops, which is making me very, very sad, because I was so excited to get this off. I think I only have 1 in the side/main. He gets in with Sangan. Draw Decree, set Decree. He's going to set a Judgment. I activate Decree immediately, because he could have Judgment in the end, which I know they play 3 of, and it stops Decree, and in the future that could end up costing me the game. And I rip a BLS, which is dead. He draws Blade Knight and wins, and calls it too easy. We'll see how that works out in game 3. He's also too smooth. I think I said, yep, that was it, because I was not too happy with my draw versus his draw. I open Book, Chaos Sork, Scapegoat, Snatch, Meta, and MST. Pretty much a brick, I would say. No set monsters, or any monsters for that matter, besides a dead one. They open up Graceful, Phoenix, Lightning Vortex, Exiled, back to square 1, and Delinquent Duo. Much better hand. They're going to Duo, hit Meta, I pitch Book. Probably should have hit the Chaos Sorcerer now I'm thinking about it. They Graceful, they get a Rhoda, they go for the Donzalug, the scariest card. If it does battle damage, I have to discard a random card. It's like Spear Reaper. He kills a token when I Scapegoat. He sets Wing Beat, I'm just going to MST it. And I Snatch Steal the Donzalug. I've never activated Donzalug before, so I was very excited about this. And now things seem to be back a bit in my favor. I hit the Mind Control, which is strong. He gains 1,000. He summons Exiled, kills a token, and then kills his own Donzalug. I'm sure he hated doing that, but you gotta. I rip Thunder Dragon, which is nice to thin the deck and get a Light Engrave. I don't think I had one before. Nope. He top decks Blade Knight, kind of annoying, hits a token. I set Cypher Soldier and the surprise! He ends up taking a bunch of damage. Pretty fun. He sets Judgment, has a Mirror Force, and at this point, against Warriors, until they have DD Warrior Lady, I don't mind just leaving this in defense and waiting. Like, I could attack and there's a Mirror Force or something, ironically there is, so I'm in no rush, honestly. He kills my token, he kills my Sangan, I search with it. I search Sook, because I know that outs his board. I book one, attack in. He doesn't go for the Mirror Force, interesting. I'm going to go for it again. This time I think I saw him draw and set Ring. Yeah, he definitely should go for that. Sook is such a good card against Warriors. He draws Kaiku, it does nothing. I drop Chaos Sork, go for priority. Set Decree, and we're going to hope that goes off, but it probably won't because of Judgment. He's going to add Thunder Dragon after top decking it, and now he has back to square one targets. Hits my Chaos Sork. I Decree, he Judgments. But, I mean, he's at 1850. I still decided to not go for game because I'm trying to play around Mirror Force, and I had the hard read that was Mirror Force just because he hasn't used it this whole time, and I think he's just waiting because he can't remove this Cypher Soldier, so I decided that I'm not in a losing position yet, so why not just wait it out? Summons Kaiku, he attacks. I lose my Sangan, but I draw one. Summon Tribe, priority, get in. Now he Mirror Forces. Feels good when you're rewarded while playing a game where it's like, yeah, I knew it was Mirror Force. Even though, like, you know, of course there's some luck aspect to it. He does draw Breaker, though, which isn't out. I do have the Chaos Sorcerer, though, and Breaker for game. Then, I remember this, I attacked for game, he said BRB, and then went AFK for a minute, and then just left the game. Thank God I didn't want to have to call a judge on that. Alright, just to talk about the deck a bit, this deck's actually really fun. It's interesting, because it's like, it fits my control style, at least from, I play control in Magic the Gathering. I know it's not really a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Too much anymore, but it's such a fun list, just like your opponent does stuff and you're the reactive deck. You don't do too many proactive things until it's time to kill them with BLS or something. And playing through this, there's nothing I would change, honestly. When it comes to getting a deck list from a very good player, so not even someone that, like, wins a tournament, like someone like you watch their YouTube content, you know they're a good player, you hear the reasoning, like, yeah, this makes sense. You don't want to change much, and I'm not the best deck builder anyway, but there is honestly nothing in here I would change. The side deck makes sense, the main deck makes sense, and I'm very happy with it. And I know some people might saying, like, I mean, you've seen the previous 5 matches that I post. I lose often. I did not drop a game with this deck. I played 5 games, and I said, you know what, let's go publish this. I think I might have dropped the game or 2 afterwards. Let me see what I got to ranking-wise. I could show that off, how amazing my GOAT rating is. 355. So I think I did hit 400 at some point, so I dropped a little bit, but I'm happy with my win percentage, honestly. Other than that, though, shout out to AJTBLS. I'll try to link his channel below in the little description box. But I hope you enjoyed watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you saw any misplays, any things I could have done better. I always love to learn. But other than that, have a good one, duelists.